Hello YouTube, it's Rum from Ramen Noodles TCG, and today I have a second place deck profile from the Alternate Universes Wilmington OTS Championship. So before I begin, I wanted to give some shout outs. So I wanted to shout out my friend Jason, who I was testing with the night before the tournament. We were just kind of hanging out. I saw he was on Omega, so I just messaged him, and we ended up getting into a duel. And he was like, yo, Rom, are you ready for the OTS Championship? And I'm like, what OTS Championship? Is that tomorrow? And then, yeah, I literally just learned about the OTS Championship about 13 hours before it started. So I was drafting up a deck list here. I was thinking about playing Malice. I had a Malice list ready a few days prior, but I didn't feel confident in it. Whereas Mitsurugi just kind of slots perfectly into the new metagame and is able to go ham. So this is the list that took me to second place. I also wanted to shout out the head judge, Mr. Henri Charles himself. Konami doesn't give very good prizing for these events. There's the champion match and invites. If you already have your invite, it's just the champion mat. So your prize is not having to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Essentially, you don't have to enter more of these events. But the head judge at AU Wilmington said that this would not do, so he added in some extra prizing. I won this beautiful Ultimate Slayer Judge Field Center and this nice pack of head judging judge sleeves for my second place finish here. So I wanted to thank him for that. And without further ado, let's get into the deck list. So starting off with the monsters, I played, for the ritual monster ratios, I played 3 Habakiri, the 1 Futsu, and the 2 Murakumo. Now, I mean, this is pretty standard for Mitsurugi. Some people play 1 Murakumo. I liked having the second one for the grind game. This was pretty important, just being able to summon it from hand. Like, drawing it in addition to Mitsurugi Ritual felt really good. So yeah, that's why I played a second one. You could maybe cut it to 1. Like, you can recover everything in this deck as far as, like, recovering stuff from banishment. But it's just, like, having more names in deck, and this is the name you want to have more of. Obviously, Futsu is the recovery. You set this up as your turn 1 board, and this is the starter. Habakiri is the goat, and Broken is up. So, yeah, 3 of those. Moving on to the non-rituals, we have 3 copies of Mikoto, or sorry, they're all Mikotos. 3 copies of Aramasa, the 1 Kusanagi, the 1 Saji, and the 1 Night Sword Serpent. So this is like an honorary Mitsurugi card, just good in the pure builds. Just helps you extend combos and stuff. These guys are, Saji and Kusanagi are horrible bricks. Saji is, like, not that bad of a normal summon, though, so a part of me wanted to play a second Saji, but I was talked out of that a while ago by some friends, and I don't regret cutting the Saji. I don't think I opened this very much, which I'm happy with. Aramasa as a monster searcher is just like a starter, because you search Habakiri. Recovering stuff with Kusanagi happens all the time in your combo. Saji is what searches you your spells, so you get your ritual spell or prayers. Just like big gaming here. Second Saji would occasionally come up in the grind game, but like you never need it really. Because you can always just like recur it with Futsu. I mean, in this format especially, everybody's summoning stuff on your turn, so you can trigger Futsu on your own turn, which is really broken. Yeah, very, very good stuff. Moving on to these spells, 3 copies of Prayers. This is probably going to get limited. This card is busted as hell. We have 3 copies of Mitsurugi Ritual, the 1 Magatama, the 1 Mirror, and then 3 pre-prep to search the Mirror. So pre-prep, I've had a love-hate relationship with this card. The first time I played this deck, I was playing blind second Mitsurugi, and I drew a hand that was like double pre-prep mirror, and it was miserable. Because you have to have a target for this in deck. It searches a ritual spell that lists the monsters. Mitsurugi Mirror is just like a basic ritual spell that summons from hand or grave. But it shuffles itself back into the deck if one of your 3 rituals are attributed, and it lists them here. So that's why you can pre-prep for it. This is just more starters. And this is really good for the grind game. You just have a lot of follow-up here. And Mirror is good for your combos. You get to trigger all 3 of your guys for searches because you have Ritual, which is twice per turn. You get 1 of each effect. And then Mirror is the final Ritual summon. So you get to Ritual summon 3 times in a turn, except you can actually go 4 if you use the Magatama. That never comes up. This is just a backward you set, but it's also viable as a breaker going second. So using your quick plays like Prayers and Magatama is how you dodge targeted interaction. This came up a lot in the Yummy matchup. Yummy plays a lot of, well, the main thing I was worried about on this was Imperm. Like Imperm on the Murakumo, because if you resolve Murakumo to wipe a Yummy player's board, that's basically just, it should just be the end of the game. So if you have like Prayers or Magatama, you can dodge that by tributing your guys. 3 Ritual, I think, is really good. You just want to draw this card because, I mean, it's like half of Branded Fusion, but it's ridiculous. I mean, you could, I guess, play less of this, but if you play more of this, you get to search your other things with Saji, which is really good. That's it for the spells there. Let's talk about the hand traps. I'm playing 12 hand traps in the main. I'm playing 3 copies of Molcharmi Fualos, 3 copies of Molcharmi Perulia, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, and 3 copies of Dominus Impulse. Now, all of this is pretty standard here. Perulia is just good this format, and Molcharmis are very good in Mitsurugi. Just like being able to crack boards going second with this, if your engine is one of the main strengths of this deck, so you don't need that many breakers. And Dominus Impulse is really good because the deck is all dark, and Dominus Impulse is a fundamentally broken card. So yeah, this is pretty standard. The 3 Imperm I added in last minute. Paradise Smasher is something that I was worried about. So I wanted to have Imperm in the main to stop that. Also, just like opening Imperm Impulse is just kind of a broken 2-card combo that just kind of stops a lot of stuff. Very, very silly, very, very broken. Yeah. I only got hit with Paradise Smasher once, and that was after my hand was like literally unplayable. I top decked Prayers for turn, but it just didn't matter. That's it for the hand traps. I did decide to play some board breakers. I played 3 copies of Book of Eclipse. So this was originally going to be Metal Tronus here, but Book of Eclipse felt more generic. People were questioning my Metal Tronus choice, and it made me question my choice of Metal Tronus. And I'm like, okay, so the whole point of Metal Tronus was to like have targeted negation. I didn't want to play Droplet in this deck because we're kind of monster dense. Well, not really, but I wasn't comfortable with playing Droplet. In this deck, I wasn't sure how much we could afford the discards, so I liked Eclipse instead. Metal Tronus naturally comes to this deck because we don't use our extra deck that much, so you can just cram your extra deck full of Tronus targets. But like the metagame is so wide that I didn't think it would be that useful. I feel like I'd run into matchups the Metal Tronus was just dead. You can Metal Tronus and Izuna by summoning Baguska. Against Yummy, you can Metal Tronus their Arclight by summoning your own Arclight and then using the Arclight for a search. That was really appealing. But I just realized that like Book of Eclipse does basically the same job as Metal Tronus, but more generically. And it's arguably higher impact going first when you set it and then flip it up on your opponent's turn after you've already like used your IP Masquerena and stuff. They're very much cooked if you like Book of Eclipse, a full field of monsters. Also, Metal Tronus doesn't have the application of dodging negation like Book of Eclipse does, because we're playing a ritual deck, right? You flip your own stuff face down, and then you can like tribute it and flipping your own stuff face down is not an issue. So if your opponent goes like Valor on your Aramasa, you can go Chainlink 3 Book of Eclipse to resolve the Aramasa anyway. Or like whatever you're trying to resolve, like if a Murakumo wipe, that kind of stuff. I actually punted the finals by not using Eclipse change to a negate on my Murakumo, which was pretty embarrassing, but yeah. I might have lost that anyway, but I'm playing Talent and Called By. These two I feel comfortable having in the main. Talent is just fundamentally broken. Called By is really good, especially this format. Not only is Mitsurugi like a threat, as I proved here today, but K9, you can Called By Lupus. Lupus is like the main guy. We're not too worried about Molcharmies, so I didn't feel like playing Ash or anything. Yeah, I thought about playing Thrust main, but the thing I was worried about with Thrust is that if I were to commit to like main deck Thrust, I was worried about the Yummy players who were refusing to play into Izuno. Like a lot of Yummy lists have like 3 Imperm, 3 Purge, and 3 Songs of the Dominators, and no other hand traps. So that would be very dead against those decks, and I wasn't sure if I wanted that in my list. So I ended up siding with Thrust instead. And as a 41st card, I played Pot of Prosperity. I felt comfortable playing Prosperity because in this post-Justice Hunters environment, there's less Droll running around in main decks at least. Everybody's siding Droll instead of maining it. So I didn't get punished by playing this card too much. Moving on to the extra deck, for the Link 2s, I played Dynamondo, IP Masquerena, Dark the Dark Charmer, SPL Knight, and for my final Link monster, I played Gorgon of Zilophthonia. So Dynamondo is really good in this deck just because, you know, it's a ritual deck. But IP Masquerena is like part of your main end board, essentially. You can IP into either Dynamondo, SP, or Gorgon of Zilophthonia. So Gorgon is a really cool piece of negation. Not only is it a reptile, which it doesn't come up, but it's funny that it's a reptile. Vanquish Soul is a zone-based strategy. So I found that like putting my guys under the Gorgon zones made my opponent like unable to pop them because the Gorgon negates the stuff. Kind of cool. This is just like an interesting target. If you don't have anything specific to banish with SP, but like you want the negation, this is pretty good. Dark was just kind of here. It came up a few times, especially in the morning. My round 1 was against Primite Dracotail. I won that match by Dark taking Dragoon twice. And he just couldn't out his own Dragoon. It was pretty funny. And SP is insane. Not only is an IP target just for general purpose utility stuff. Very good card. Moving on to my Xyz monsters. For the rank 4s, I played Gallant Granite, Code Igniter, King of the Feral Imps, and Gaga Cowboy. So these two are the searchers. This is the reptile searcher. This is the rock searcher. So funny enough, these two don't come up as often as you'd think. Gallant Granite is just like a piece of an end board that you can search Nibiru. Basically, any deck that makes rank 4s can do this, but we're a ritual deck that likes having our stuff tributed, so having Nibiru as a part of the end board is really good. To make this, you need to actually have reptiles. Like, it's generic, but all of our monsters are reptiles anyway, so the reptile search doesn't come up that much. It comes up in, like, corner cases where you need to search extra ritual monsters to summon for, like, a mirror or something. Code Igniter is kind of the opposite. If your ritual spell gets negated, or for whatever reason you are unable to get to a ritual spell, like a second one, you can go Code Igniter and then just perform a ritual summon. That's all this card does. It's just, as an ignition effect, ritual summon. It's a walking ritual spell. Gaga Cowboy is just kind of here. This was a 15th extra deck card I threw in because I was running late to the event because I didn't know what time it started, so I just barely made it. I threw in Cowboy. This was supposed to be Baguska. Baguska's really good in this deck, but I couldn't find it, so Cowboy it was. Never came up today. For the rank 8 Xyz, I am playing Photon Lord, Dingirsu, and Hope Harbinger. Now, Ding is king. He doesn't come up that often. I just kind of threw him in here as a guy. Just good removal. Generically strong removal. It came up a couple times, actually. This card was performed better than expected. Just being able to clear boards with it. Stuff that resists destruction. Like Vanquish Soul monsters that have been Snow Deviled. That sort of stuff. Back row that you can't pop with Murakumo. That sort of stuff. This is just like a turn 1 end board piece in certain matchups. You have to be very careful when you're making this card, though, because you usually will make... you'll overlay Habikiri and Murakumo for this. So your Murakumo can get stuck under the Photon Lord, so you're incentivized to use it early, which isn't always the greatest, but this is just a form of negation if you want that on your end board. Comes up sometimes. I used it a couple times. It was okay. Hope Harbinger is just a spell negate. This was mostly for the Mitsurugi mirror. The idea of taking, negating my opponent's Mitsurugi ritual and then stuffing it under the Hope Harbinger, that was really appealing to me. This probably would have come up if I had played the Mitsurugi mirror. Mitsurugi mirror. But that didn't end up coming up. However, I was able to use this card. So number S38 Titanic Galaxy is a new card. Essentially, it's a ranked up version of Hope Harbinger. So you can make this on top of it, suck up some back row, attack, and then make Zeus. So making Zeus on top of this will have like at least 4 materials, which is really, really good, having a 4 material Zeus. This is important to clear the Vanquish Soul board, because Vanquish Soul is able to... Vanquish Soul Snow Devil protects the monsters from destruction. So in order to crack the board, you need to make Zeus. So obviously I'm playing the Zeus, and I'm playing Typhon as the last extra deck slot. Moving on to the side deck, I am playing some more hand traps. I'm playing 3 Lancia, 3 Droll, 2 Nibiru. So Nib was just like a Gallant Granite target. I thought this would be good against Yummy as well. It was alright. I never really used that, to be honest. I just like sided 1 in going first. It was fine. Lancia is for Malice and Orchist. I don't think there was a single Malice player at this event today. Crazy. Droll is for going first. Against Vanquish Soul, like drolling them can be pretty good. I know Perulia is like the main thing against that deck, but Droll's still pretty good too. And obviously, like in the Mitsurugi mirror, it's very good. So yeah, 8 hand traps here. I am playing 2 copies of Thrust and Purification. I side this in going first. Sometimes Thrust goes in to go second, because there's breakers in the side deck that I can search. Purification is really good. It's just like an Omni Negate that negates effects, which is kind of broken, to be honest. That also has a revival effect. This card is incredible. I wouldn't want to main it. Magatama is a much more flexible piece of back row, but Purification is good for going first. I probably should have sided in more Thrust targets, to be honest. I couldn't find the room. Maybe I could do like what other Mitsu players play and do something like some sort of virus, maybe Eradicator, maybe Deck Dev, just depending on what I think the meta is going to be. I haven't really figured that out yet, but I do want another Thrust target. I used Thrust a lot more going second than I expected, because I had some pretty strong breakers here. So I had, obviously, some backer removal, right? Lightning Storm, Duster, but Lightning Storm and Duster are, like, kind of crazy this format. So, against the Yummy, a lot of their interruption is in the back row, right? So if you clear over the Yummy surprise, they're really not able to come back after the Murakumo wipe. If you clear the Akoki, it like doesn't let them float, because, you know, you clear the Akoki. And like Duster is just like, you know, more backer removal. Good stuff. And for the last card, I played Wosu. This is for going second into like decks that make towers. I didn't play against Lunalite. I didn't play against, God forbid, Braid Raptor. It never came up, but it's okay. As for my matchups, I played against a lot of Yummy. I played against the Primite Draco Tail. I played against a couple K9 Vanquish Soul. I won those matchups, mostly because I went first. K9 Vanquish Soul probably feels about even as a matchup. You win usually going first. Your opponent usually wins when they go first, but you do have chances to crack their board. You just have to make like a Zeus and grind them out, but it's impossible to do that if they have everything. Like if they have K9 on top of the whole Vanquish Soul setup, you're probably in pretty big trouble. But like you can keep them at bay if you're going first, because like you have Eclipse, you have Impulse, you can stop Holy Sue from coming out, or like, you know, from using the effects. The Holy Sue steal is not a big deal, depending on when they use it, because like you have ways to like resummon your Murakumo to like wipe the board, so it's not a big deal. Yeah. Most of my losses were due to my own error and just lack of experience with this deck. It feels incredible. If you're not planning on building one of the new decks from Justice Hunters, I highly recommend you play this. Pure Mitsu is incredible, this format. So yeah, that's basically everything I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like, and consider subscribing to the channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh content. Have a great day.